Good morning. I'm Don Shaw. Welcome to our Unity of Walnut Creek service.
Good morning. I'm Danae Legan, and welcome to our service, and happy birthday to all those March birthdays. Go out and celebrate yourself.
Happy birthday.
Yes.
Reverend Kristen is with us in the sanctuary this morning, continuing with part 3 of her series, The Season for Nonviolence, See No Stranger. Today's message is Listen.
Our stream team today with us includes Gus on switch and sound, Peter on camera, and our stage manager, Eileen. And behind the scenes, preparing throughout the week, always includes musical directors Lisa and Tyler, tech director John, production manager Annie, and our video editors Peter, Jack, and Shari. Thanks for all your hard work.
We are so pleased to have Heartdream as our guest artist today. Let's head across town and join Steve Mirabai with an original song titled, Oh Sing, My Heart Sing.
Welcome, everyone.
It's great to be here with you today.
Blessings to you all.
Thank you, Steve and Mirabai. It makes my heart sing to listen to you. Now let's take a moment and ground in unity. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. Our vision for the world is we envision a spiritually awakened world where all life thrives in conscious oneness. Our mission is who we've come here to be. Let's say this together. We are a loving, inclusive community, expanding and living our divinity in sacred service for all. And our core values are love, connection, service, and wisdom.
If you are with us for the very first time, welcome. You are invited to fill out a connection card. Connection cards are available for everyone on the Watch Live page. You may submit a prayer request, and our prayer team will be praying with you throughout the week. You may also share feedback or request information.
Our classes and events are currently held online and by phone via Zoom. And here are a few important announcements and opportunities.
There are still a few Animals of Unity calendars left, and they are on sale. Each month features some of the amazing animals who share our lives. Next to each animal is the name of the animal's caregiver, so the calendars are a very nice way to feel connected with your Unity friends. The calendars were originally $20. However, since we are now into March, we are selling them for a love offering of whatever your heart tells you to give. Proceeds from this fundraiser will benefit Unity, and a portion will be donated to the Animal Rescue Foundation, ARF. Please see our website for payment and delivery options.
You're invited to the On Our Walk discussion group this Wednesday at 7 p.m. The discussion group is guided by Ron Salazar and will focus on our whole spiritual walk through shared experiences, spiritual teachings, prayer, and meditation. Join us on our journey to a more intimate walk with our divine selves. This ongoing group meets every Monday on the second Wednesday, meets every month on the second Wednesday at 7 p.m.
Would you like to open your heart and deepen your gratitude? Who wouldn't? Then you'll want to attend the Diablo Valley Gratitude Circle. The Gratitude Circles are facilitated by Jeffrey Remus and Bill Arena and include personal sharing, chanting, meditation, art, and movement. The Gratitude Circles meet over Zoom every Monday morning at 11 and Fridays at 10:30. Join a circle to practice gratitude, reach greater heights of enlightenment and oneness, and to become a presence of gratitude.
See our website for a full listing and login information for all of our events. And if you're not receiving our weekly e-news, use the connection card link on the Watch Live page to sign up.
Following our service today, we invite you to log on to Zoom about 12:45 for a virtual patio conversation. Prayer chaplains are also available to pray with you during this time. You may also wish to discuss Sunday messages with your community on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. in the weekly Spiritual Growth Circle. Now, as we move into meditation, let's ground with our statement of faith. Let's take a deep breath together. Settling into our hearts. And take one more deep breath. Please join me. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God.
We will begin with a poem from David Peterson, leading into a song with Heartdream, followed by Reverend Kristen with our guided meditation and silence.
The way it is. The heart is the highest way. The answers are deep within. Become the transformation. Respond to life. Be conscious of what's there.
Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. I will never forget thee. I will never forsake thee. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen.
As I settle into this time of quiet communion with my God, I listen. I listen to my own heart song. And I make a new commitment to remember the divine within me. To remember the power and the love that is available to me. To remember the truth of who I am. For it is only in this remembering that I can offer the very best of myself to all of those who I may serve. I listen to my heart song. And I offer up to the divine within me. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. Making this truth, this essence of me, my priority. Will make it so much easier for me to offer that same heart song to anyone in my life. So for now, let us listen. Let us listen deeply to the song of our heart, to the truth of our soul, to the wisdom of spirit that runs through our veins. to listen with our whole beings in the quiet, in the silence. Even in a few moments of silence, I begin to remember once again. I listen to the wisdom that is inside my body, in the cells of my body. I listen to the love that is in my heart. It all comes back to me again that I have never left the divine, the essence of who I am, only temporarily forgotten, and now rejoined with that truth. I make the commitment once again. From the very heart of my being, I sing the song, "Listen, listen, listen. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you." And as I remember, I can give so freely to the world around me. I can listen and never forget or forsake those I love, or even the strangers I have yet to meet, but love as a part of my human family. Thank you, God, for reminding me in the stillness, in the listening, in my heart song, who I am, who I've come to be, and all that I have to offer through the simple process of listening, beginning with my own heart. And so it is.
Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget thee, I will never forsake
The wolf will live with the lamb. The leopard will lie down with the goat. The calf and the lion and the yearling together, and a little child will lead them. That's the prophecy of Isaiah 2,800 years ago. He was casting a poetic vision of unity and equality, and we're still working on it. I believe we're making real progress. Now, you might be thinking, wait, no, we're the most divided we've ever been. But are we? Are we really? Or is it more because the shadows have been illumined, and we are seeing now more of the views and the fears that seem to divide us? We need to stay the course now. We know from our Unity teachings on co-creation that focus is what allows us to manifest the visions that we hold. So let's keep our eyes on that vision of unity and equality, and let's begin to point our compass, our revolutionary love compass, in a particular direction. To remind you, the revolutionary love compass is by Valerie Carr in her book, See No Stranger. She has this. And she says that we can point the compass in any particular direction of loving someone. So it could be loving ourselves, or loving others in general, or specifically loving our opponents. That's the direction we're pointing today. In the rings are different actions you can take in order to love in that direction. Today, we listen. We listen to our opponents, those who have opposing views from ours. Now, you might be saying, well, what's the point of that? Because if I try to have a conversation with somebody with an opposing view, I'll never persuade them to my viewpoint. But here's the thing, that's not really our intention. If we go in with the intention that I'm going to change somebody's opinion or that I'm going to persuade them over to my viewpoint, it may be futile. But if instead we go in with the intention to deepen our understanding, to perpetuate our healing, that's a whole different intention, and that we can do together. The section of Valerie's book is called Tending the Wound. We listen in order to tend the wound. When we listen more widely, we can come to understand that there aren't any monsters in this world. There's only human beings who act out of their woundedness. When we tend the wounds of our opponents, we tend the wounds of ourselves, and we tend that bigger collective wound. What's that collective wound? That collective wound was created out of a false belief that we are separate from one another. It's this idea that there are greater than and less than, that some people's lives are more valuable than others. It's the big lie, really, in spiritual terms, the greatest sin of all, the belief that we are separate. And out of that, we can see the ugliness that comes. Laboring to love our opponents is also for our own benefit because we are also loving ourselves, even though we may not be pointing the compass in that direction and focusing there. It's a side benefit that happens in all of these because self-love and self-knowledge is all a part of this journey. It's an act of loving ourselves. Author Toni Morrison puts it this way: I refuse to let anyone belittle my soul or diminish my own expansive sense of self. She says, the more I listen, the less I hate. And the less I hate, the more I am free to choose actions that are controlled not by animosity, but by wisdom. So we listen, we tend the wounds in order to gain more wisdom, more understanding. We do it to heal our relationships, and we do it to tend that collective wound. Maybe you see it as a national wound or a worldwide wound, but these are a few reasons for us to listen. Nuns on the Bus are a group of nuns that travel around to listen. It's a listening tour. They travel around on a bus to listen to people who feel disaffected and who align themselves with a white nationalist agenda in order to try to meet those needs. Sister Simone Campbell is one of those nuns. She tells a story about when she was listening to this white man this one day, and he was talking about how immigrants and Muslims have invaded his country. Now, she intentionally paused there because she really wanted to respond with her own viewpoint. But instead, she waited and she paused. And she told herself, listen to his story. He has a story, and you need to hear it. And so she listened, and then she began to hear the thread, the refrain, over and over again. He said that his parents worked really hard to build a better future for him. Finally, she said to him, "It sounds like you feel ashamed that you didn't live up to your parents' expectations." Tears filled his eyes. That was it. The need had been touched, that unmet need for love, to be seen, to be respected, that sense of accomplishment, purpose, that he mattered, that his life was making an impact. We all have these universal needs. We can begin to feel the empathy and compassion in that when we listen far enough to get into that place of connection, human heart to human heart, and to keep doing the work to listen. So his rage was a symptom of his pain. We can also listen to people of color who have been oppressed for centuries and help tend the national wound to heal in that way. Pain that is transformed pain that is not transformed is transferred. Franciscan priest Richard Rohr said that. We can see how that plays out in so many ways. And then Valerie warns us, when we leave people alone with their pain, their alienation becomes a precondition for radicalization. So if we keep saying, oh, those people over there, they have those extreme beliefs. Oh, those people, yeah, I separate myself from them. We're doing the same thing. So instead, if we can welcome into the full human family all the different viewpoints to listen for the pain and the wound, we can begin to heal and to really make a difference. We are already healing. Listening from the heart is really what Jesus pointed to when he said, for those who have ears to hear, let them hear. For those who can feel that sense of, oh yeah, this is a key piece, this listening. It opens us up to Spirit's help when we listen in this way. It increases our capacity to take in more than just the words that are being said. And it helps us listen with greater patience, greater clarity, and less reactivity. When we listen from our hearts, we can hear others' pain, we can touch our own pain, and we can discern our responsibility, our own ability to respond. That piece is important, and we'll follow up on it in a little bit. Another part of listening is to listen to stories versus debating policies. This can be really helpful because when we're having policy discussions, and probably some of you, probably all of us at some point or another have been in those kinds of debates. And it creates those, it just sort of solidifies the existing camps and the different arguments. It's not to say there isn't a time and a place for that, but when we're really after healing, it's the stories that make a difference. And so if we can, because stories will break through beliefs and they will challenge assumptions and they will let us get past that and glimpse maybe a different point of view through the story. It opens our hearts. It allows us to connect in that empathy and compassion. Stories are also engaging. They're hard to tune out. Once we're hooked in a story, anybody ever watch a Netflix series? You know how they do now where they just go right into the next episode? So we got a TV this year, which we hadn't had in years. And during COVID, I've definitely indulged in a lot of these series. And I find if I will just get up when it goes to next episode and go get a drink of water or take a break, then I can break it. But otherwise, it's like I'm so engaged in the story, I want to hear what happens next. So that's how we are with story. It's part of the human, since ancient times when we gathered around the fire, story engages us. Story arrests our attention. And when we are in story, we're listening to the story. We're not formulating our response. So it's not like a debate where that person believes this. Well, let me tell them about these stats, or let me tell them about, what they're missing here. Instead, we're coming from that heart place back and forth. Deeper listening that happens in this way is an act of surrender. When we listen to people's story, we actually surrender to the possibility that we will be changed. When policy or ideology then arises during a conversation, we can remember that the purpose, our single-minded purpose, is understanding. We can say to ourselves, I'm in this to understand, and just take a breath. True understanding isn't possible unless we are willing to risk changing our worldview. When the conversation turns back to policy, see if you can open it back up into story by asking questions. People love to talk about themselves. They love to tell their stories. So ask some questions. When did you first form this idea? What was happening in your life? Do you know somebody like that personally? When did you first have this idea? So those kinds of questions will bring people back into telling you examples and stories, and then you can have a little bit more conversation in that way, remembering that our role is listening first. Deep listening, even to stories, it's a developed skill. So we have to practice to develop the skill. It may be clumsy and messy when we start. So what? Push past that, because we'll get better and better the more we listen. It begins with checking our preconceptions at the door, right? Being willing to say, okay, I'm coming in curious. I'm coming in like a little child, right? Like this is new information that I've never heard before. I'm coming in with the wonder, that idea of wonder we spoke about before. We quiet our thoughts, engage our senses. Listen for what's at stake for the other person. Try to understand what matters to them, and put aside for a moment what matters so much to you, or put aside for a moment what you think they're going to say, what you think is predictable in your mind, and instead just listen to what is said and then beyond. Valerie is a thin, brown-skinned woman of the Sikh faith. She has approached groups of men who are speaking in all kinds of racial slurs to listen, to begin a conversation. Her courage, to me, is really inspiring. It's the kind of inspiration that allows us to be a true ally to others. She calls her listening technique circle of listening. She describes it this way. She says, when I listen deeply, it feels like a dance between two poles, between myself and the other person, between what is at stake for them and what is at stake for me. She says, I draw close to them, and then I return to myself, and I respond, and then I draw close to listen again, moving in a circle of animated wonder. The circle of listening is a reminder of the ultimate truth, that we are one. It reminds us that that is at the base of all of this, of inclusivity, of connection, of unity, of equality, of harmony. It's oneness. But we can't just say, oh, we're all one, and forget about it, because that would be a complete spiritual bypass, right? We need to do the hard work of equality and inclusivity to experience the truth of our oneness. Let's take a pause and listen to this beautiful song by Heartdream, One from the Beginning.
gently through our heart. Listen with reverence and work together from the start. One from the beginning, as is will always be, all one together, forever, eternally. One from the beginning, as is will always be, all one together, forever, eternally. Hand in hand, united, peace emanates within the bliss. Understanding and kindness, connected love we can't resist. One from the beginning, as it will always be, all one together, forever, eternally. One from the beginning, as it will always be, all one together, forever, eternally. One. I am that I am, a butterfly so free. I am that I am, a dolphin in the sea. I am that I am, light of infinite parts. I am that I am, love from the heart of hearts. One from the beginning, as is will always be, all one together, forever, eternally. One from the beginning, as is will always be, all one together, forever, eternally. One from the beginning, as is will always be, all one together, forever, eternally. One from the beginning, as is will always be, all one together, forever, eternally. One from the beginning, as is will always be, all one together, forever, eternally. One from the beginning, as is will always be, all one together, forever, eternally. One from the beginning, as is will always be, all one together, forever, eternally. One from the beginning, as is will always be, all one together, forever, eternally.
Well, thanks to Heartdream for that beautiful song. The chant is going to stay, I think, with me throughout the week, and I hope it will. You too. You know, our community has been engaged in raising racial consciousness. In Thursday's class, we were discussing implicit bias and how our subconscious mind that holds the implicit bias, those impressions that happen over a lifetime, by pausing, we can actually override the subconscious mind's old beliefs and that implicit bias that lives there, and shift into the conscious mind to think again about what we are about to say or what we are even thinking. It helps us be less prejudiced in our actions and in our words and to come from a more conscious place. Richard pointed out during class that Maddie and Millie had this great video a few weeks ago that taught us the 3 steps: pause, pray, and proceed. Yes, Isaiah, the little children will lead us. So brain researchers have shown us how, and demonstrated through experiments, how we can, by that kind of pause, that moment, we can shift from that subconscious mind and that implicit bias to that other place. But our spiritual teachings take it a step further. Our spiritual teachings bring in that third aspect of mind, not just subconscious and conscious, but superconsciousness. And so when we pause, we open to the superconsciousness. And that can flood our whole beings with a sense of protection, a sense of presence, a sense of power. It can give us more endurance and more encouragement. And the divine intelligence is then more available to us. We can proceed then with deeper listening. So you can see how the pause and the prayer just really team up together. The moment of pause can open us to that allness that is available to us and make it far easier than it is through us and as us, not just us by ourselves, our human self and our limited human mind, but the allness of the divine that is available to us in this important spiritual work of listening. So maybe you have a white person in your family or in your community who fears or maybe even is terrified of America's changing demographics. Valerie says you could help them grieve the illusion that America ever belonged only to them. And in so doing, by helping that grieving, we are also being a great ally to people of color who have bared that burden for centuries. Before you start the conversation even, pause and pray. Maybe aloud with a person if they're open to it, or just simply quietly to yourself. Invite Spirit into the conversation. Invite Spirit to be your guide throughout the conversation, to help you listen more deeply, and then proceed. And when you feel the divine presence and the support, all the more so you will be emboldened to stay the course, to listen more deeply. So pause and pray then anytime it gets hard. Anytime you feel like, oh my gosh, I really want to respond to that. Or you can feel the sensations in your body, that are telling you that you're having a reaction. You can choose then to pause and to pray by using mindfulness exercises, by paying attention to the sensations of your body, or by returning to your breath for a moment. All of those techniques are ways that help us feeling the ground beneath our feet, that help us get regrounded and reset so we can listen some more. Pausing quiets our minds. It can help us pivot from that impulse to defend our position to instead wonder about the person in front of us, wonder about their story, wonder about the wounds that might contribute to that story. There's no denying that this work is challenging spiritual work, but it's beneficial, it's rewarding, it's fulfilling. It's work that's worth sticking to. It may help to remember in times of this listening odyssey these words of Valerie. Listening doesn't grant the other side legitimacy. It grants them humanity, and it preserves our own. This spiritual practice will be the most fulfilling when it includes some self-compassion. So realizing we're not always going to get it right and being kind to ourselves for trying, being kind to ourselves for staying in it. And also grounding in the truth of Spirit. And also realizing that the healing power of love is extended to us through community. Listening is only one part, though, of a bigger process. It's important to remember it's not the end of the road. Witnessing someone's pain, maybe even feeling empathy for somebody, it doesn't necessarily lead to meaningful action. To continue the journey, we have to ask ourselves, return to ourselves, and listen to the spirit of our own being. Maybe ask some questions. Now that I've listened, now that I've heard what I've heard and come to learn what I've come to learn, what is mine to do? What is my action step? What's the next best thing I can do? How can I contribute to further healing? How can I be a better ally to those who are oppressed? And then we just listen to Spirit's answers and act. Now, it's kind of our human tendency to put things off, to delay things as long as we possibly can. A lot of times it takes something really blowing up before we really evolve. But as proactive spiritual citizens, we need to take hold of what actually is already blowing up all around us. You know, we can't keep delaying our involvement in the travesty of racial inequality. It's been laid at our feet. It's been awakened in our consciousness. What will you do? This isn't easy, but it's essential spiritual work. It's essential to our understanding. It's essential to our healing. It's essential to move forward together, collectively and individually. I think it's one of the biggest pieces of spiritual work that is available to us today. And it requires two things: action and community. We can't do it all alone. That's why we need community. And it is through community that the things we do are more inspiring, more supported, more encouraged, and there isn't that feeling of helplessness and despair and overwhelm that comes from trying to do things all by ourselves. And the action piece, remember our fifth unity principle. It's not enough to believe these first four principles. We must act. We must live into them. So it's all of this work is based so soundly in the unity foundations that we espouse. So as we together move forward, we can awaken and help heal the wounds of our country, the wounds of our world, the wounds of individuals in our lives who we love, and ourselves. Let's not forget ourselves. So won't you join this revolutionary love? You can join our class on Thursday nights. You can begin to listen to your opponents. There is an array of possible actions that you could take. The most important thing is that we begin to act, that we take these actions, that we begin to listen. So let's affirm this together, and let's do some new work this week. Together, I am engaging in revolutionary love. I am listening. We are healing. And so it is.
We spend a lot of time listening to our inner voice. This is a different message, listening to another person. Listen and heal. Thank you. Whether you have a joy or a concern on your heart today, our prayer chaplains are available to provide prayer support during our virtual patio conversation after the service. You may also contact them by completing a connection card on the Watch Live page or click Prayer Request at the bottom of the home page. Our prayer team will be praying with you throughout the week.
Now, let's open our hearts to the practice of giving. Our spiritual home thrives with your continued generosity. I invite you to prepare your gifts as we align with the universal law of circulation. As we give, we shall receive. In truth, there is no lack or limitation. Abundance is our true nature.
In addition to sending checks through regular mail or direct deposit through your bank, there are 2 ways to give online. You may click on the Donate Now button on the Watch Live page or download the Give app. Give is spelled G-Y-V-E.
I invite you to repeat our prosperity affirmation with me, together. Divine love, one with me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am joy-filled and grateful.
Let's ring out the bells of freedom. Our hearts beat the rhythm of joy. We'll see through this world of illusion. Our love is too strong to destroy. Let's take the water through the mirror and stand upon a different land where all the unanswered questions can be found in the palm of our hand. Let's ring out the bells of freedom. Our hearts beat the rhythm of joy. We'll see through this world of illusion. Our love is too strong to destroy. Since we belong to each other, we open up the sacred doors, and the rainbow never ends for all sailing on silver shores. We'll soar like the eagle, dance in the wind. We'll find our peace where truth begins. Let's ring out the bells of freedom. Our hearts beat the rhythm of joy. We'll see through this world of illusion. Our love is too strong to destroy. Oh, now we found our way back home, where the stories of grace are heard. They're filling our hearts with love from the sweet song of the bird. We'll soar like the eagle, dance in the wind. We'll find our peace where truth begins. Let's ring out the bells of freedom. Our hearts beat the rhythm of joy. We'll see through this world of illusion. Our love is too strong to destroy. Let's ring out the bells of freedom. Our hearts beat the rhythm of joy. We'll see through this world of illusion. Our love is too strong to destroy. Let's ring out the bells of freedom.
Well, again, thank you to Heartdream, and also thank you to Don and Danae for facilitating. We do appreciate all of our facilitation teams, and they always do a wonderful job. If you'd like to learn more about Steve Mirabai's music, you can visit them at heartdream.com. And we always like to support our musicians, so maybe you'll feel inspired to purchase a CD. Now, as we bless our offerings, we bless the giver as well as the gift. We know that the gifts that you have given go forth and multiply hundreds of times over and multiply the good in your life as well. Let's bless the gifts and the givers and know this truth together. Together, we give thanks for our ever-increasing, constant flow of absolute good in our lives now. So it is. And you know, our frontline workers, they're still at it. So let's not forget them and let's bless them together. Frontline workers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you. So our children's ministry, as you probably know, meets every Sunday at 10 a.m. via Zoom, and we often have an amazing video from Maddie and Millie. They do not disappoint. Once again today, they want to share what they've been doing in youth ministry. Let's take a look.
Hi, Unity. It's Maddie and Mary. And for the last couple of weeks with the Unity kids, we've been learning about different religions. And the first one we learned about was Judaism. And then here's a few others that we've been learning about. So we've learned about paganism, and this is the Mother Earth goddess. And we also learned about Hinduism. And this is Ganesh. And you can see like a little mouse. Yeah, and there's the Om symbol behind him. And we also learned about Native American traditions, and this is Butterfly Woman. And she's a Kachina doll. Yeah, a very big one. And here's Buddha from Buddhism. She's a medicine Buddha holding a medicine. Yeah. And you can find different Buddhas around the world. Yeah. That don't just look like this. And the next ones we're going to learn about is Islam and Christianity. And at Unity, we think that the God and Goddess are in our hearts, right? Bye, Unity. Bye.
Well, a wonderful lesson from the youth ministry, thanks to Maddie and Millie. Let's bless our children, our youth, and our teachers together. Children, youth, and teachers, we love you, we bless you, we appreciate you, and we behold the divine light within you. And now, let's hold everybody, all of humanity and beyond in mind, as we listen and follow and speak together the prayer of protection.
The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. The presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is. I am divine. And so it is.
All right, we'll stick around to the end of the service. We have new wavies, always a great way to connect with a community, and we always want more. So send in your silent waving videos or your still photos to office@unityofwalnutcreek.org. And now, our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth
You are the light and the love and the peace on earth right now. So let your light shine, and as you're listening this week, have fun and spread joy. Blessings, everyone.
We all get to live together on this earth. And we're grateful, yes, we're grateful for the miracle of human birth. The divine has given to us all the tools that we might need. So let's put our minds right to it. Have no doubt we will succeed. That's the spirit. When you see yourself in the one you're talking to, that's the spirit. When you feel the wave of hope wash over you, that's the spirit. When the quiet inner voice is calling you, that's the spirit. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Listen, people, the world is spinning very fast. So don't worry about the future, and don't dwell upon the past. There is no time like the present. The time to rise up is at hand. So let's look inside our hearts now. We will see the divine plan. That's the spirit. When you see yourself in the one you're talking to, that's the spirit. When you feel a wave of hope wash over you, that's the spirit. When the quiet inner voice is calling you, that's the spirit. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Listen to the music play. Spirit. When you see yourself in the one you're talking to, that's the spirit. When you feel a wave of hope wash over you, that's the spirit. When the quiet inner voice is calling you, that's the spirit.